Alright, so with all the recent criticism of quarterback Jalen Hurts, it seems like he's done his best to shut it all down, as Lane Johnson just revealed that Hurts has significantly improved during the offseason in one key area. So how much will this benefit him and the Eagles as a team this year? Meanwhile, the Birds continue to add fuel to the Saquon Barkley hype train, as Brandon Graham just made some really exciting and also somewhat funny comments about him. Plus, the Eagles are currently working to keep one of their young and talented defensive linemen in Philly for a long time, while multiple different guys and young players seem like they could be emerging as leaders. So let's talk about all that and more, and we won't waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Okay guys, so let's start this off by taking a look into Jason Kelce's yearly summer beach bash down in Seattle, New Jersey, where Kelce and a bunch of current and former Eagles get together along with a ton of fans to have fun, drink beer, play games, just have an overall good time, all to raise money for the Eagles Autism Foundation. And this year it looked pretty awesome, with Jason Kelce rocking the luchador mask and leading the Eagles fight song in this clip. And then his wife Kylie leading an Eagles chant. I honestly don't know how you couldn't love these two, and it's just so cool that they're out there raising money for a good cause, along with some other Eagles, including recently retired legend Fletcher Cox, star guard Landon Dickerson, Eagles Hall of Famer Trent Cole, tight end Dallas Goedert, cornerback Avonte Maddox, star kicker Jake Elliott, and the last year man Brandon Graham. And again, overall, it was just so cool to see all these guys out there having fun with the fans and raising money for Eagles Autism. And now, switching our focus to one of those guys that was out there in Brandon Graham, he's been working hard to prepare for what will be his final season in the NFL, and luckily for him, the Birds seem to have a pretty good shot at ending his career off the right way, as they put together another fantastic squad that has hopes of winning a Super Bowl this year. And arguably the most exciting addition of the entire offseason is running back Saquon Barkley. And speaking of that, Graham just recently spoke to the New York Post, where he made some really exciting and somewhat funny comments about Barkley, saying, quote, "He's been looking good, man. It sucked that things went the way they did. Saquon is definitely in a good place right now." And then he clarified who exactly it sucked for, saying, quote, "It sucked for the Giants fans, because that's like us losing our top guy. I understand business is business, but I know Saquon definitely is looking forward to this season. That's going to be like how, T.O. went to Dallas and got booed. It's going to be one of those things. I know with Barkley, he probably didn't want to have to make that decision. We're loving it because we definitely got a good player. Great dude too. Just can't wait to see what he does this year. We know that people are pissed about it. They hope that nothing comes out of it. I know that's how mad some people are about it." Now, I honestly love hearing BG talk about the misery of Giants fans, because a lot of them just try to deny the fact that losing Saquon is even going to hurt them at all, and that's just simply insane. I mean, Barkley was the most successful part of what was a miserable Giants offense for pretty much his entire tenure there, and there's no question that he's one of the best running backs and playmakers in the league. So if you're a Giants fan, you cannot deny that losing him is going to hurt. You just can't. And on top of that, it's also nice to hear all the positive things that BG said about Saquon, as his comments on Barkley did not stop there. As he said, quote, "You just can't let him hit the hole. That's the biggest thing. Once he hits the hole, he's a home run hitter. I know for Saquon, he always was the guy you don't want to see with daylight. I know he's been as advertised." And comments like these only add fuel to the Saquon hype train, as Barkley has received praise all offseason, whether it be from the people in the media or from different reports or from the players themselves. I mean, just a few days ago, All-Pro right tackle Lane Johnson praised Saquon and said he thinks he's poised for a big year. So with BG now saying this about Barkley, that only adds to the excitement. And one other exciting element about what Saquon brings is his leadership ability, and that's something that could potentially lead him to being a captain in his first season with the Birds, as a recent article written by Ed Kratz of Eagles Today lists Barkley among 6 candidates that could replace Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox as captains, citing Barkley's leadership ability and experience, as well as his comments that he made on this topic back during OTAs.
Me being new here doesn't bother me. I believe that I'm a leader. I believe, I don't believe I know it's my 7th year going to NFL. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of leaders here already, which is great when you have that many leaders in the room, and I feel like I only can add to that.
Now, I personally think that Saquon would be a great captain for the Eagles, and I honestly do think he'll end up being one. But there's also some other pretty good and interesting options on this list, including left tackle Jordan Mailata, who's been with the Birds for a while now, and he said this offseason that he feels like he's a natural leader. And then you can look at Dallas Goedert, who's also a team first guy and has been here for a while too. And then on defense, they listed some interesting options, including the young defensive tackles Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, who I definitely think both have that ability and could slowly grow into it. And then there's some other guys that I think I would definitely consider that were left left off the list, but I do want to briefly talk about the guy who I think is the most interesting person that was included, and that's safety Reed Blankenship, as this is a guy that literally went undrafted in 2022 and worked his way up to being a starter. I mean, he's young at 25 years old, and I think it'd just be so cool to see him being a captain and a leader for this Eagles team and this Eagles defense. I mean, we did see it at times last year with him breaking down huddles and talking before games to his teammates, so I definitely feel like he has it in him to be a leader. But what do you guys think? Could Reed or any of these other guys on this list be a captain for the Eagles in 2024? I definitely think a couple of them will be. Saquon, Mailata, those definitely seem like great candidates to me, but again, what do you guys think? But now just staying on Reed for a minute, he's also been working very hard during the Eagles summer break, as this video just dropped of him putting in work out on the field, and I gotta say, I do think his footwork is actually looking pretty nice there, and overall, I mean, it's just good to see Reed hard at work and preparing for the season, as he's expected to have a big role for this team yet again in 2024. Now, I thought 2023 was not a bad year by any means for Blankenship. I mean, sure, he had his struggles, but I honestly think that he was one of the better players on the Eagles defense, and he definitely took a big step forward from his rookie season in 2022, and I expect another leap yet again in 2024 with the way that he's been working, and also how he looked during spring practices, as he was very, very impressive, and he jumped out. So as long as he gets the opportunity to start again, I definitely think he's going to take advantage of it. And while him starting will definitely happen if things stay the way that they are right now, some people think that the Birds need to make another move at safety, and one name that has been linked to the Eagles all offseason is safety Justin Simmons. And that connection was drawn again recently, with Bleacher Report recently saying that Philly is the ideal landing spot for Simmons, saying, quote, "Philadelphia is Justin Simmons' best fit. Philadelphia really is where I think he'll end up. Why isn't he there yet? I don't know. I wish I did, and I wish I had the answers for you guys, but I don't know why he hasn't been signed yet." Now, personally, at this point, I'm okay with them just sticking with Blankenship, CJ, and Sidney Brown as safety, and while Simmons would not be a bad addition at all, I just don't necessarily feel like they need to go out and get him. Like, I don't think it's a pure necessity. Now, I wouldn't hate it because I think Simmons still has a lot of good football left in him, and he obviously has familiarity with defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, but at the same time, I kind of just want to see Reed keep developing and let him instead have their opportunities. But what do you guys think? Would you sign Justin Simmons, or are you confident in Reed Blankenship as the starter? But now moving on to something completely different, we switch our attention to some recent comments coming from All-Pro right tackle Lane Johnson regarding Jalen Hurts. As of course, we all know that Jalen Hurts has been under fire recently and been criticized heavily, and I'm not going to get into all that right now because I already did a deep dive in all the drama and criticism. I did my best to refute all of it in my last video, so if you're interested, you can check that video out after this one. But one of the criticisms Hurts has drawn this offseason is regarding his leadership, which I just think is ridiculous, with people saying that he needs to stop being so stoic and quiet and be more vocal and outspoken, and whether or not you think that that's necessary, it seems like Hurts has done that, with Lane Johnson going on the Rich Eisen show and saying this.
How do you respond to any of that chatter coming out of Philly?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, Philly's a big media market. You know, you hear lots of stories, but I think just this offseason, he's really done a good job of bonding with his teammates. I felt like the connection has definitely grown. A really big offseason. The work ethic has never been an issue. Tremendous worker, but just becoming a more vocal leader. And, you know, I think whenever he speaks, you know, guys listen up, and him reaching out to guys and creating these bonds in the offseason. You know, he's having these, you know, throwing sessions with the receivers now in the offseason. You know, getting work in, but really has gone out of his way to connect with his teammates, and we feel that. And yeah, we're really excited about this year. Every year's a kind of a prove it deal to everybody when you're in that town. And, you know, we all feel it to some degree, but Jalen's our guy moving forward. We love him, we respect him, and, you know, nobody puts in more work than he does.
Do you got an example of how he's become more vocal that you're willing to share?
Yeah, just when we do breakout sessions during the off season, you know, organizing events to get together, usually more dinners, hanging out, stuff on the weekend. So maybe stuff we took for granted, you know, earlier past few years, we really had a big chance this off season to bond, and we spent time doing that, bowling, cookouts, but really just spending time together.
So yeah, it sounds like Jalen heard the chatter and has accepted the challenge. And look, I really don't think that there was anything wrong with the way that Hurts has led in the past. I mean, like I said in my last video, there were no complaints when Jalen and the Eagles were on their way to the Super Bowl and everything was going great. But I will say, it certainly couldn't hurt that he's now apparently being a little bit more vocal. And I just think it shows that Jalen is willing to do whatever to help this team and to grow. As even though, again, I just don't think he had to do this, it certainly doesn't hurt at all. So you guys can give me your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think about Jalen apparently becoming a more vocal leader? leader this offseason. And now, moving on from that, we have another new, very interesting report from Jake Rabati this time, detailing how the Eagles are already working on yet another extension for one of their young defensive players, as defensive tackle Milton Williams is now heading into a contract year, and even though he hasn't fully broken out yet, the 26-year-old has been really effective in the opportunities that he's gotten so far during his 3 years in the NFL, as he's been elite against the run and flashed at times rushing the passer, and given a bigger role, I really do think that he could truly break out for the Eagles this season. And the Birds apparently have a high level of confidence that he will break out, and they currently value Milton very highly. As Jake Rabati's report said, quote, "The Eagles and defensive tackle Milton Williams have had preliminary discussions on a contract extension, but it's unsure if one will get done before the beginning of the season," sources tell the Liberty Line. Now, whether a deal actually gets done or not, I think that this report is a great thing, because Milton is a very talented player that has a lot of potential, and he was a draft pick here, and he also provides great depth and production on the defensive line. And on top of that, he probably wouldn't cost you very much right now, so if they could get an extension done early, it could possibly be a bargain. Now, obviously, we don't know the number of years that the extension would be for, but if they could lock him in for like 2, 3, or 4 more years, and then he ends up breaking out this season, that'd just be an absolute steal. But either way, whether the extension happens sooner or later, I'd just be super happy if they actually did end up extending Milton, and he ends up being an Eagle for years to come. But that being said, what do you guys think? Do you think the Birds should sign Milt to an extension? You can let me know all your thoughts on that down in the comments, and also make sure you subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you don't miss any Eagles content just like this coming in the future, and so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. And also, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like to show some support if you did enjoy this video. It really helps me out a ton, and I'd greatly appreciate it. And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this one out going over all the latest Jalen Hurts drama, which again is just absolutely ridiculous. You can check that out right here. And now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.